Let's go down to Jerome's. So didn't weigh on this on this right away because I wanted to let it marinate, let it breathe for a little bit. And I know people will get to, oh, why are you still talking about Kirk Cousins? Get over it. He's gone. No, but this is honestly, objectively, the funniest thing that has ever happened in NFL draft history, of the Falcons drafting Michael Penix Jr. at number 8 overall after giving Kirk Cousins a 4-year, $180 million deal with $100 million guaranteed. It's hilarious, man. So, recapping the offseason, Minnesota Vikings free agent quarterback Kirk Cousins left, went and signed with the Atlanta Falcons. Like we said, $100 million guaranteed, 4 years, $180 million deal. Going home. His wife is from Georgia. Blah 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 blah. All that stuff, and he became the Tin Pot Waffle House dictator. Now it's fantastic, man. And now, will the Falcons be punished for tampering with Kirk Cousins, which he admitted to in his press conference, by the way? It's possible, and we'll get into this because there's some conspiracy theories that I have about why the Falcons just took Penix, right? And now, what was hilarious, and I actually feel kind of bad, but then I remembered it's all about the money with him anyway, so it doesn't matter. But Kurt was at the Falcons draft party, and he was hyping everyone up. He's like, hey, y'all, do y'all want a receiver? Because I do. Do y'all want a defensive player? Because we need them. But then the Falcons just took Penix at 8. Now, there's a couple things here. Number one, so I understand quarterback is the most important position in all team sports. And, Kurt has $100 million guaranteed over, 2.5 years of his deal. So are you going to turn the keys over to a new quarterback in 2026? Possibly. But if you're going to do that, why draft the 24-year-old quarterback who's going to be 26 by the time he gets handed the keys? If you're going to draft a developmental young quarterback, why not just take McCarthy at 8? Now, I'm more than happy that they didn't, and then the Vikings getting McCarthy at 10, even though I like Penix. But in terms of a quarterback who needs to sit for a couple years, Penix ain't it. So I don't get it. And, of course, I just have to shoehorn in any references possible to one of the most underrated comedies out there, the other guys. I hope you like the taste of prison food and Penix. Now, what's crazy is that the Falcons, everyone and their mom had them mock draft an edge rusher, notably Dallas Turner, who ironically ended up with the Vikings at number 17. Because the Falcons, who's the last great Falcons pass rusher? Chuck Smith, John Abraham, the remnants of Dwight Freeney. That's it. And you would think with Raheem Morris being a defensive guy that they would want a talisman edge, especially since this edge rusher group not really that deep. It's weird, man. It is absolutely weird. And then all the details started spilling out, man. So Diana Rossini, the Falcons called Kirk Cousins when they were on the clock to let him know. So there wasn't any discussion of this beforehand. The Falcons were in Flowery Branch for off-season workouts. No conversations with Kirk, because again, once you pay Kirk $100 million, like you would think that he is the guy. And you're shoving all of your chips in because Arthur Blank is like 81 years old. He would ideally like to win a Super Bowl and not just a 75% of one before, and with Kurt, the clock's ticking on Kurt too. Like he's 36 years young in August. And how are you paying $100 million for a bridge quarterback? I don't understand it, man. Yeah, but Kurt wasn't called. Rossini continues. From what I learned, Cousins understood a quarterback would be considered, but he did not believe his successor would be taken in the first round. I'm told he's a bit stunned. And what's amazing is that Kirk Cousins, financial gangster agent Mike McCartney, felt like he had to weigh in on the situation. That's how bad things are. Again, Kirk Cousins got $100 million guaranteed, $180 million total from the Falcons. Hasn't played it down yet, and they already drafted his replacement, who's 24, going to be 24. McCartney's agent, yes, it was a big surprise. We had no idea this was coming. The truth is the whole league had no idea this was coming. We got no heads up. Kurt, like he deserves a heads up. Anyways, Kirk got a call from the Falcons when they were on the clock. That was the first we heard. It never came up in any conversation. It's so funny. And also the best part is, apparently they did very minimal work on Penix. Like they didn't have a private workout. They didn't have an in-person interview as a top 30 visit. They're just like, we'll just take Penix. It's insane. And of course, the viral clip is GM Terry Fontenot and owner Arthur Blank just having a conversation about it. Like, Fontenot looks like a man who's trying to just make sure that he has a job tomorrow. Just trying to explain away why they took Penix, a guy that they did very minimal work on, and a guy who, after Kurt runs through his guaranteed money and you can move on in 2026, is going to be 26 years young. And the whole backtracking and mental gymnastics and justification from the national media jabroni haircuts happened. So Pete Schrager, who used to be an ally of the Vikings, not so much anymore. Cousins Penix situation, a little similar to Rodgers Love situation in Green Bay. If Cousins gets Atlanta playoffs, they won't have a high pick like 8th overall anytime soon. Love was drafted in the back end of the first round anyways. Always hard to make sense of it on draft night, but that's the long-term thinking when quarterback twos are taken in first. Number one, Jordan Love was 21 years old when the Packers drafted him. And two, the Packers didn't just give Rodgers $180 million with $100 million guaranteed. It's just, again, the hoops that the media goes through to try and explain things away when it doesn't relate to the Vikings. It's ridiculous, man. But of course, we do have the jokes. Kurt and the Vikings are like a couple who divorced over money issues, and then the Vikings moved on quickly with a 21-year-old blonde. While Kurt's new team is already cheating on him. Again, Kurt has not played a down for the Falcons, and they've already moved on. It's fantastic. Now, conspiracy theories are this, where is it possible that Arthur Blank had the mandate to sign Kirk Cousins because it's like, the big shiny object, and Home Depot just decided like, and he got Kurt, and maybe Fontenot didn't want Kurt, and the Penix call was completely his deal, and he just did it. Just to do it, almost out of spite? Or is it a spot where maybe the athletic trainers, even though they tampered with Kurt, like maybe Kurt's Achilles is not where it needs to be, and Penix actually isn't the future quarterback, he's the quarterback for now, right? Or, again, conspiracy theory, do the Falcons know that they are going to lose their 2025 first-round pick? And they're not going to be in a position to draft a future franchise quarterback next year. And maybe they're just like, all right, so whatever. We're just taking Penix now. It certainly is a possibility, right? But either way, this is, again, objectively the funniest thing that has ever happened in the NFL draft. But, hey, with Kurt, his task is very easy. All he has to do is keep the Falcons fans from loving an electric, a charismatic, a rocket-armed, an extremely mobile, according to his pro day, left-handed black quarterback named Michael in Atlanta. That's all that he has to do, right? Well, do Falcons fans know that Julie's from Georgia? That's all they need, right? But I can see it now. So the Falcons are going to struggle because defensively they just don't have the pieces, which... they could have taken Dallas Turner at 8, or they could have even traded down a couple of spots, gotten Turner or Latu or Verse or whatever, and had some more picks. But no. But here's what's going to happen. So the Falcons are going to struggle because their defense won't be able to stop anyone. And Kurt is going to have to be almost perfect to keep them above water, keep them putting up points, which they have skill position players, fantastic. But the second that he makes a mistake or commits a turnover or whatever, you can just hear Penix. They're going to be shouting from Penix from the rafters with their $4 hot dogs. I love it, man. So again, the drama is going to be legit in Hotlanta, and again, we're talking about it because it is hilarious. And again, I'm perfectly happy with J.J. McCarthy, and I love the Dallas Turner pick, and I love that the Vikings turned the page. But Kurt could have avoided all of this. Again, the Vikings would have had Kurt back on a cheap one-year deal. Kevin O'Connell wanted Kirk Cousins back. The Vikings fan base had really warmed up to Kurt over the last couple of years, but he decided to push that aside for a couple more pieces of silver from the Falcons, and now he's got this situation. Now, I don't want to say anything is karma because at the end of the day, he's got $100 million guaranteed, so why does he care, right? But also, Scolenfreud is legit. Anyways, your thoughts on our thoughts. the Cousins Penix Jr. situation is hilarious. That's all. You guys know what to do. Skull production value.